Welcome back to Queerprenuers Unleashed. I'm your host, Dustyn Baulkham. My pronouns are he, him. And today we're recording on the unceded ancestral territory of the Syilx Okanagan people. And I'm excited to have my friend Josh here today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
So you've got, I guess, kind of two businesses that you run, hey?
I would say so, yes. My name's Josh Perreault. I have JP Crafted, which I do fine furnishings made out of wine barrels, some art pieces, and then just recently, 3 weeks ago, business partner I, Sherry, opened up the studio on water. So,
right.
Yeah.
Very different than the last time I was in here.
Big time.
I was in here when all the shelves were bare.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah. They're continuously getting full, which is a good thing.
Good. Well, and hopefully they're getting bare again because you're selling stuff.
Exactly. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk a bit more about you personally first.
Sure.
A bit about age, when you came out, or kind of the things I'd like to start with.
Age, how dare you?
Your range, I don't care.
I am 44 years old. I'm turning 45 in March, which is the golden years for myself, I feel.
Perfect. And how old were you when you came out?
Well, that's a whole little topic right there.
Good thing we had some time.
Well, good thing, right? So I came out when I was 30.
Okay.
30, and I was engaged to a woman.
Okay.
So just about 4 months before our wedding is when I kind of pulled the plug on. Surprise!
I mean, better before than after.
100%.
And how do you identify now?
A gay man.
Okay. And when you came out, did you identify as gay right away, or what did that look like? I
had one encounter, which was a horrible, very last encounter. So I'm pretty much pretty sure that just sealed the deal for me.
Okay, fair enough. And what was that like, if you don't mind talking a bit about, because I'm going to make a bit of an assumption, but you're presenting as a straight man at that point.
Pretending, yeah, sure, yeah.
presenting. I guess, and how did it feel to finally come out as being your authentic self?
It was pretty awesome. Yeah. It was years and years and years of kind of pretending to be someone that I wasn't. So being able to, be me and be true to who I am, and have all these answers and reasoning to past behaviors and so on were really great to get out on the table.
Yeah, I bet. And how long ago did you start JP Crafted?
Coming on 3 years ago. So that would have been, I started January, let's call it 12th, 3 years, coming on 3 years.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. And what was the big turning point for you on that?
Oh, okay. Well, that will just kind of touch base about my sobriety, which here we go.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Being the fourth guest, that's 2 of 4 that are sober, including myself.
Well, congratulations. Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah. So January 1st will be 3 years for myself. And just kind of when I started off JP Crafted, it was, I had worked in the auto industry, hospitality industry for many, many years. And there's a lot of toxicity in those environments.
It can be, for sure.
Right?
Well, I think that's where we really initially met, was in hospitality.
Absolutely. I probably was taking care of you, doing a shot with you.
No, we were working at Mateo.
Oh, yes. Right. Totally.
Many moons ago. Yeah. That was many moons ago when I first moved back to Kelowna. I was kind of figuring out what the heck I was going to do with my life.
I also was doing the same thing.
What you do?
Here we are.
Yeah. And I feel like in those industries, there's a lot of substance use, and both liquid and otherwise.
Absolutely there was. Yeah. The good times.
Yeah. So based on, I'm kind of reading through the timelines now, is obviously, you were out before you started the business. Mm-hmm. Has being queer with your business impacted you in any way, good or bad?
I think so. Impacted me. I find that, me being a queer, I've got, that design aspect behind me. I've got all these great qualities that, I'm able to showcase.
I'm a queer.
I'm a queer.
You said it, I'm a queer.
Well,
it just made me chuckle the way you kind of said that. It's not bad.
I'll probably refer to that a few times.
Oh, that's fine. I just sorry. Anyway, keep going.
I don't know. I just think being myself finally was able to branch out and showcase my creativity, and I do that through my art, and just having that extra little flair behind me is kind of where I like to go with things.
Well, I think, and I mean, that's obviously a stereotype of especially gay men, is that they're creative, which I mean, some of us are and some are very not. So obviously you fit that mold.
Yeah, I think so.
Stereotype.
I think so. Home HGTV is my jam.
And so let's talk a bit more about JP Crafted, and you can tell people exactly what it is.
Yeah, for sure. So, of course, I use reclaimed wine barrels for all my work. How fitting, coming from a former alcoholic. I don't know. I just started off JP Crafted, so that stands for Josh Patricia. So Patricia was my grandmother. Okay. She was a major influence in my life growing up with a single parent. My mom really worked her ass off to support 2 children, right? So, you're always at grandma's house when mom's working her part-timer job. Yep. So grandma's always, she had a pottery studio. She was volunteering at the Salvation Army and so on. The Legion was a big aspect in our life as well, too. So, she passed away coming on 6 years, and just being around that is kind of where I got my creativity from. So starting off with JP Crafted was I quit drinking. I needed to do something with my time and my hands, jazz hands. So I just started plugging away and just building random stuff. Like, believe it or not, I've got 0 woodworking experience behind me.
Everyone does when they first start, right?
Yeah, in essence. Yeah. So the first time I actually really started screwing wood together with tools was about 3 years ago, and since then I've seen a lot of progression in my business. I really built a strong name in the community, in the market community, and as being a good designer and a good woodworker.
Well, it's interesting because I would just assume Josh or JP was your initials.
Yeah, as most do.
Because you just see it and it's like, oh, well, that would make sense. Like, why would you question it, right?
I like to confuse people.
Apparently. Most queers do, don't they? And what, I know this kind of ties in around like when you became sober, but why wine barrels and woodworking in that aspect? There's so many different creative things that you could do theoretically.
So just being in the region that we live in, I feel that I saw some work out there. Crib was a big thing for me. So the first thing that I started doing was crib boards from wine barrels. Right. And I've got over about 600 of those out right now. So,
Do you have one in here?
I actually don't.
Shameful.
I know I sold the last one yesterday or day before yesterday.
I was actually thinking, when we first started, I'm like, we're not even sitting on your chairs.
I know. We can pull them out, but they're about that high. There's one way back there.
Okay, well, we can pull one out at some point.
Actually, there's a couple over there too.
Sorry, we're talking about
what were we talking about?
How you got into with wine barrels and making pieces out of wine barrels.
So again, it started just back with the crib boards and evolving, just putting things together. I don't take any tutorials. I don't watch much videos or anything. I visualize something and I just kind of hey, I can do that. I can build it, and hopefully I can build it better and have a little bit more personality behind it, because I'm full of personality as
well, it's got character, right?
Yeah, character. It's like these
wrinkle
lines here.
So with that, being that it's, kind of what I'm reading through that has been like trial by error in a sense. Mm-hmm. Have you had much waste of product going through that process, or do you?
I see some of my things as waste, but a lot of people don't. I tend to use everything from the wine barrel, right? Okay. Right from the rings to the little end pieces that I'm using as shims or business card holders or something. So there's a lot you can do with wood, wine barrel wood.
Yeah, well, and you see a lot of people just have the wine barrels initially because of the region we're in. They're not super hard to come by. It's not like it's just they're rolling down the street by any means, but I think it's great to see some other creations come from it. And I think a lot of people like that, whether it be because it's really good quality wood. Right. And so it's good outside.
American oak and French oak.
There you go.
I hope I was looking at the right camera. You said that one, right?
Yeah. So with the different pieces, what kind of, I know we talked about crib boards, and that you've used kind of the whole wine barrel and business card holders and stuff, but what other kind of pieces have you all created out of wine barrels?
Oh, there's lots. So I actually rented out some furniture. I started a little furniture rental business as a little division from JP Crafted. So I did mobile bars. There's backdrops for weddings, which we should have had one here, but they weigh about 800 pounds.
You should just have one in here.
I should. I would just cover the whole wall with this beautiful art, right? Why not? Tables, chairs, swings, guitar stands, the possibilities are endless.
What's been the most challenging piece you made to date?
I think we touched base on that one. Going back to square, a very, very custom piece, which would have been some swinging cabinetry that hit a speakeasy. So I think that was my most difficult. I do beat myself up a lot on some of the work because
we're always hard on ourselves.
Yeah, we're always hard on ourselves. And I find that, something is finished and I just want to finish it just a little bit more. So I take a little bit too much time on things.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can overdo it, right?
100%. Yeah. Did it really need 13 screws in that one spot?
It's better safe than sorry than it falling off the wall.
Exactly.
So in that aspect, so that's a custom piece. But how about like another, like on the challenging side? Like I know you got a chandelier in here.
I do.
But what was one that was your most challenging that you created that maybe you did multiple of that was not a custom piece?
I want to go to, say, the Adirondack chair.
Okay.
So typical Adirondack chair is going to kind of, lean you like kind of forward, right? Yeah. So it's to me they're quite uncomfortable. So my take on things is I would turn the wine stave around and actually gives you more support in the back. Okay. So with zero carpentry skills, it's how are you gonna do this, Josh? So I just trial and error. Like that first chair took me 32 hours. Which was a really long time for a chair. So,
it's almost a week.
Almost, yeah.
I mean, granted, as an entrepreneur, that's not really a week. That's like a quarter of a week. But
well, it's And then, 10 hours of that I'm sure were spent walking around this piece, admiring it.
Or getting frustrated and be like, fuck.
Yeah, starting over again. Yeah. So I think that was my most difficult would have been those Adirondack chairs. I've not mastered them because each one is different. And again, I don't take notes and I don't write things down. Right. As I should. So, going back to measurements, going back to measurements, you're just kind of like, was that 13 inches? Was it 12? So each one's different, we'll call it.
Put them side by side, right?
Exactly.
So the first one took you 32 hours. What now would it roughly take you to build one?
About 10.
Still 10 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of work behind them.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying there isn't. I'm just like, you think, things, streamline, you find your ways.
Yeah, definitely. Sanding's a bitch.
Yes.
Yes.
That would make sense.
My least favorite part of the job is sanding.
I bet. Just very tedious.
Very.
Is there anything else you want to talk about on JP Crafted before we switch to the studio?
Yeah, I guess so. There are a lot of builders out there that do wine barrel furniture. Okay. With going with my business, you do get a bit of uniqueness, quirkiness, you get that compassionate, caring person that comes behind. So I just find that like in my industry that JP Craft just sets itself just a little aside just because I got that personal care and attention to each of my clients.
Amazing. Okay, so almost 3 years with JP Crafted, and then recently, so the space we're in now is called
Studio on Water.
Thank you.
1302 Water Street, Kelowna, BC.
and the space literally just opened, right?
Literally 3 weeks ago, yeah. So
and
excited.
I mean, I know you have a business partner on this, but what sparked you wanting to add a second type of business into it for you?
Well, Dustyn, have you ever set up for a market before?
I have. I did probably 6 Pride markets this summer.
Wonderful. So you're fully aware of the work that goes into a market.
Oh, yes. Sometimes, they can be really lucrative and worth it.
Absolutely. And sometimes they cannot.
Correct.
So my stuff is quite heavy and... setting up for market is a lot. The unpredictability of it is draining sometimes. And, it's just, I feel that being in all the markets all the time, there needs to be another avenue for myself for sales, right? So you can only bring so many pieces that jam pack in a 10 by 10 tent. And it's not showcasing everything that I can do. Right. So venturing into the Studio on Water with my business partner, Sherry, just kind of helps us sell my products a little bit better. Okay. It has a go-to place for people to custom order, pick up. I do have a giant workshop at my house, and not every time. Yes, thank you. And I don't want people in my space all the time, right? So it's nice to have another area for sure.
I get that because even my house, like, granted, it's all office-y stuff I do from the house. It's all remote, but I don't like too many people in my space because that's kind of my jam, and it's where I kind of do my thing.
Same,
right?
My neighbors are starting to realize this though, and what are you doing over there, Josh?
They didn't know what you were doing.
Well, they do, but now they're actually starting to want stuff from me.
It's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing.
They're bringing out the cards.
Yeah,
I'm gonna buy some shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you have? I know you got some stands here. There's a chandelier. There's chairs. Do you have much more in here right now?
Yeah, there's some ornaments
Okay.
over there. There's some frames behind me. There's some chairs over there.
Okay, so you got a bunch of stuff here. You can
There's
see
a
the
wine
chair.
barrel cabinet there. There's under the Christmas tree. There's a wine barrel stand. There's some benches. They're quite hidden at the moment.
Okay. Well, I mean, some of them are just literally being used in the shop here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I need some time to create, my friend.
Yes. Do you know by chance how many wine barrels you've gone through over the last?
Oh, Lord.
No? I was just curious.
Well, I could take a stab at it. I mean, so I have a very good relationship with Grey Monk Winery. Starting off at first, trying to get a wine barrel was like, what a bitch, you know, like you're finding them on Marketplace. They're 125 here, 150 over there. You're picking one up here, one over there, and which was fine when I started.
Yeah, you're still dabbling. So.
Well, you know, there's like that made everyone's work different because there's just different wine barrels, and I like the consistency dealing with Grey Monk. So I usually get like 4 to 6 delivered at a time. They're dynamite. They just right to my house when I need them. There's 20 per order at times that I'll go through. And so I want to say like 3 years, probably like 150 to 200,
Okay.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere in that realm.
Okay. So a couple a month kind of thing.
Yeah. Nah, then probably more.
No, I was trying
Let's
to
do
some
the
quick
math here.
I was just trying to do some quick math.
Accountant, can you help us out with this?
Well, 300.
There's
I mean,
no one
if
sitting over
it
there.
was you said 150 to 200.
Yeah.
So not quite 10 a year. No, 10. The fuck.
We're really good at this.
I'm just
So I might
a
even
brain
just say 1,000.
I literally today was going to take vitamins, and I had my little mixer. I call those like shaker bottles.
Yeah.
And instead of putting vitamins in my hand, I took my shaker bottle and dumped liquid in my hand, got in my keyboard. I was like, what am I doing?
Oh, day started off like that.
I know. I don't know why today. I was just out. I think the last 2 days. Yesterday was crazy because we had board meetings at the college, and then we had trivia last night, and so it was a long day yesterday.
How was trivia?
It was good. 2 businesses now. Obviously, like any entrepreneur, stretch for time. What do you feel where's 24 going to take you?
Oh, geez. Hopefully some more furniture sales. Thank you, Kelowna. I really, really want to see all the artists and artisans in Studio and Water succeed and grow with us, right? So, representing over 30 artists and artisans in our studio who's really rolled the dice with us. Having their own little kind of mini storefront, we'll call it,
right.
And just trust in us. And, hopefully 2024, we'll be able to put our foot down in the city and just kind of show what our space is about, right?
Any of the products that you sell here, are they available online as well?
So we are working on that. We've
Okay.
got a web developer at the moment working on the back end of it. So your little shop now buttons and all of that kind of jazz.
So
But Sherry and I just kind of rolled the dice, and, within 5 weeks, we were pulling an open
was that
sign.
quick,
It was that quick.
Right, because there was a similar style of store in here before,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Would
you
you call it
betcha.
Marketplace?
No, it's, the store is called True North Collective.
Sorry, would you classify this as like a marketplace, or how would you classify it? Obviously it's retail, but
So retail, art, artisans, studio space, like we do rent the space out for similar things like this, some art classes and such. So retail first and foremost, and then, art obviously on the walls for sale, and then workshops and studio sessions.
amazing. When you're doing sessions in here, how many people can you fit?
Comfortably 12 up to 16 for sure, depending on the event that's happening in here. We've had 3, tomorrow will be 4 workshops in here so far. So the average has been about 10 on them, which fits around this beautiful, huge table. And I know you can't see that, but there's a couple other tables around. It's really
Just
dark in
imagine
here.
it. Well, I mean, some people will be just listening to this.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it's not really that dark if you look on the cameras because our lights make it nice and bright.
Perfect.
But how do you feel your queer identity has shaped your business?
So I wrote this one down a little bit.
Can you tell they get the questions first?
Yeah, right. So identity. So, I do identify as a gay man. I feel that it's not a pivotal thing for me to be like representing I am a gay man, this is my business or anything like that, but it definitely helps shape who I am. People are trusting in me and just, my design aspect of it as I touch base on and such. So yeah, I don't think my identity overly with being a queer man is like, that's who I am.
Right.
More, artists.
You're an entrepreneur that also happens to be queer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a short way to say it, right?
Yeah. It's run around.
I mean, some businesses, like mine specifically, like obviously a lot of what I do is all queer focused.
Absolutely.
So, and I get that that's not probably the norm with queer entrepreneurs or queerpreneurs, as I like to call them.
I was having a tough time with that. We were calling it queerpreneurship, I just couldn't get it. It was a tough one.
That's good.
Yeah. So I sat down last night and said it numerous times.
There you go. Spell check doesn't like it either, so it's okay.
Spell check doesn't like and with me. It's AMD for some reason.
I probably shouldn't admit this, but it was actually AI that helped me create the name.
Okay.
So I was like struggling. I'm like, I knew what I wanted to do. Took me a while. I've known for a long time I've wanted to do a podcast. And I was like, but what can I do that's relevant to who I am as a person, what I have for a business, and all the different projects that we've kind of got ongoing. And so then I came like, oh, fuck, there's like nothing out there that focuses on interviewing other queer entrepreneurs. And I was like, that's perfect. Like, that's totally my jam. I love highlighting other people. I mean, it's what we used to do with The Mix in terms of like taking around to different businesses, right? Which we will bring back in the new year. I'm still figuring out what the model looks like, and it has a rebrand already. Like, it's part of the agenda, which was fun when that came about. Calling things the agenda, because everybody says we got the queer agenda, right? So why not just fucking roll?
How many
with
participants did you usually have for the mix?
It depended. I'd say we'd the last like post-pandemic, probably the most we got was about 15 or so.
Okay. Oh, look at that. But we fit 16 in here.
But it'd be standing, so you could get more. in here
for
standing.
sure. And there's a piano over there, so if we got a good pianist to play.
Yeah.
So that's the gym beside us. Yeah.
Like,
they have a certain workout scheduling.
Totally.
So
well, and you wouldn't normally be it because unless you had an event in here at this time of night.
Yeah. And I mean, they start early. There's the 12 o'clock session, which is fantastic, right? But I make noise as well.
That's fine. And honestly, I don't even think this will really pick it up. Like, and if it is a little bit like whatever, it's not the end of the world.
It was so funny when we first got the space. Obviously, it's a gym, so they're all like super buff over there, and the store owner Scott, he's great, very handsome fella. There's a giant cabinet in here that needed to be moved, and the previous store owners, I was needing to bring it back to them, and of course I can't carry an 8-foot cabinet on my own, so I saw them working out in their space over there, so I just walked over and was like, hey boys,
help me please.
Help me, I need your muscle.
Just a poor queer.
Yeah, please.
Queer?
Yeah. So, nice to meet you guys. Can you help me carry this?
Exactly. Yeah. Nice. That's
a good way to meet them, right?
Totally.
Well, they're of course poking in the windows, going, "What the fuck is going on over there?" Right?
I mean, even tonight, probably with the lights and all that. People right?
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's people like looking in and wondering.
I'm sure the city probably thinks I'm crazy with the amount of time that I spend curating the room in here, walking around. You hang something, and you don't like it, but you got to see it from that direction, that direction, and that direction, right? So,
But I mean, I feel like that's just what any entrepreneur, right? Is you're going to be picky about things, and you're going to see things that other people don't, and that's just the way she goes. I gotta remember that sometimes and not be so hard on myself in those situations.
Right.
'Cause, I mean, you could really go down a spiral on stuff like that. But
I'd spend hours in here moving one thing, 1 inch.
I believe it. Yeah. Until you get it. I mean, then you'll get a vibe. Like, I mean, it's still very new, right? It's your new baby. It's like your little newborn. So as you get more comfortable with things, you'll figure out your vibe, and it'll come much easier, right? Mm-hmm. So, so now with the two different businesses you've had, have you experienced any discrimination or bias being queer?
I don't think so. Like with the carpentry, you get your bros and they're old school woodworkers who, you should be doing this, you should be doing this. So you just don't know, So, I mean, maybe directly, I don't think so.
Flat out. That's
no,
good.
I don't think so.
How have you found the queer community in terms of being supportive of the businesses?
I think they're pretty good. Pretty good, I should say. I try to get out and support as much as I can. Being just extremely busy, I'm not able to attend all these events, and just also being new, we just haven't done all that marketing and stuff like that's available for us. So being very supportive. Yeah, it's not like there's jealousy or anything like that I don't find out there, which is great. So,
well, I mean, that's the important thing, and people also know, obviously, I think that's where sometimes there are a lot of queer-owned businesses out there that people don't realize are queer-owned because, the entrepreneur started, it's either isn't out and about or people just don't know who they are. So I think there's a lot of that sometimes too, right? So it's always good that people know, because, I mean, it helps you know it's a safe space. Yeah. Right?
Very safe space. There's a rainbow disco ball hanging from the entrance of the door.
Totally missed it.
It's only about that big.
Okay, fair enough. Can you share a real memorable success story in your time being an entrepreneur?
Memorable success story. I mean, I think just all of it's memorable for me at the moment right now. Just starting off from scratch and just kind of building a little company.
Has there been any moment along where you're like, this is what I was always meant to do? Like, did you have kind of that epiphany? Because obviously you're in hospitality in different industries before, and then you've been in this for almost 3 years now,
right? So epiphany, I don't know, just the appreciation and the joy that my furniture and art gives people is fantastic. So being recognized is just kind of, you're walking down the street and they're like, oh my God, Josh, thank you so much, I love your work. That's fantastic. Versus the cold calls out before, which were not so great.
Well, again, that's it. Like, you're getting recognized for the quality of work you do. So to me, that would be kind of
memorable. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Like, I have those moments, and I was thinking about this, was it yesterday, the day before? There's different groups I'm involved with that, they have every intent on being super inclusive, and there's gaps, and often it's the LGBT side. And even, I applied to be on the BC Arts Council recently, which is a Crown Corp. And one of the things I noticed is going through applications that, they talk about underrepresented communities or something to that extent. And LGBT is not even included on that.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so I get, frustrated sometimes. And I think even when in my own business, you have those really shitty days, like the bank accounts look a little dry and you're like, why the fuck am I doing this? And then I drive, and as you know, I've got a very queer vehicle.
Very.
I feel like I'm always driving with a bit of a target
nothing
sometimes.
Wrong with that. Well, that's what I wonder.
I have those moments where I'm driving down and there's especially some youth, and you see them just light up when they see the vehicle. And it's that friendly reminder. I'm like, this is why you do what you do, is to bring some light. Because there's so much fucking hatred out there right now. Absolutely. And so... anyway, this is not about me.
Yes, I digress.
No, we're here to talk about you.
So I just had a client come in from Quesnel just 2 days ago, which was fantastic. So someone that I've never met or anything, and they just come down and bought 5 pieces off me, which was fantastic to come here specifically to see me. So I feel that that's a good accomplishment. Absolutely. Is when people are making a trek to come and see me.
Agreed. Yeah, it reaffirms the value that you're creating with your business. Right. And people see that, and the fact that they'll drive here to buy a bunch of pieces off you is, it's a huge sign of success.
I think so. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I know with the current business here, you talked about earlier, you're still kind of figuring out the marketing side of things.
Right.
Do you, and there's not a right answer here.
Good.
Do you think, when you start doing more marketing, advertising, will you have any focus on the LGBT community, or will it be fairly broad? Like, what are you thinking on that so far?
No, definitely. So I do have a queer employee that works here, which is fantastic. We do represent 4 queer artists in the studio as well too. So, volunteering is something that I always love to do. Donations is something that I like to do as well too. So, just kind of getting myself out there, marketing. I do I am part of a few Facebook groups, queer groups and such like that as well too. It's just we haven't really tapped too much into that yet. But yeah, definitely open to some suggestions from Kingpin over here.
Yeah. So you mentioned queer artists. So I know we got Shannon Lester, who's behind us, that you can't see a lot because just their placement. But who are the other queer artists?
Oh, I've got Ryan Bailey over on the wall, and then I've got some...
Speak into the mic when you say that.
Oh, sorry. Ryan Bailey over here on the wall, and then I've got two that prefer to leave unnamed at the moment right now. Yeah.
They're just not out?
Yeah. I just don't know their situations
Okay, fair enough.
out and about.
No, you don't know. It's
yeah, 100%. Hey, you're gay.
I have those people in my life. Anyway, cool. Do you think, being a queer entrepreneur, there are any unique challenges that you've faced that you wouldn't have if you were straight?
Yeah. So obviously we fit into a stereotype where, I should be a hairdresser, I should be this and that. No offense to hairdressers out there. No. So, your challenge is just, creating, being a woodworker, I don't know that many gay men that are out there,
or women for that matter,
or women. Sorry, thank you, I forgot about those lesbians.
No, but even straight, just women in general, whether they're queer or not, right? It's not an industry that is very predominantly women.
That's for sure,
right? It's woodworking would be predominantly straight male.
Correcto.
Yeah.
I think just some of the challenges are, being queer doesn't overly impact myself is kind of where I kind of touch base on. This is a tough one.
No, but it's good because I think, we talked earlier too, is being queer. I think sometimes I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but it doesn't really matter in a sense.
It shouldn't matter.
You're right. It shouldn't ever matter. But I guess where I'm trying to go with this is just because we're queer, it doesn't mean we can't do something.
We can do anything we want.
Exactly. And that's really where I'm going, subconsciously going with this without actually saying it.
Okay.
Is that, right? Is that, I think we put a lot of burdens on ourselves being queer and telling ourselves we can't do things because society says we can't or whatever. But we almost build up this internal homophobia sometimes inside of us of what people are going to think or going to do or going to say.
Right.
And so one of the things I really wanted to highlight this podcast is the cool shit that queer people are doing that people might not realize. Okay. Right? And that you can do anything you want.
For sure.
Earlier you touched on this briefly, but in terms of like donations and whatnot. Right. But are there any specific queer-focused initiatives or community groups that are kind of near and dear to your heart as a entrepreneur?
Yeah, so there are some initiatives, with this space that we curated here at the studio, we're wanting to make it a safe, welcoming space for all. So Kathy, which is our program facilitator out of the studio, looking at getting some queer youth groups in here, also touching base on sobriety groups, people that are having challenges with that kind of such. Yeah. So just in the space at the studio that would be kind of one of our initiatives.
I know this business is obviously newer. And even, granted, you're almost 3 years in, it's still fairly new in that aspect. But do you have a bit of a vision for what kind of legacy you want to leave with your businesses in the community?
Yeah, I haven't put a lot of thought into that. Just a legacy that I want to leave behind is definitely I want to be supportive. I want to be inclusive with people. I want to be helpful. I want to be a mentor. I want people to look up to me and be like, hey, I can do that. Look at this guy, what he did, So just kind of like, you can do it attitude, or look what he did kind of thing. Right. Okay. So I think that's kind of,
it's a great start, and I'm sure it'll evolve as you continue on with your entrepreneurial journey, right?
Sure hope so.
All right. Okay, this is our this or that. So don't think about it.
This or that. Okay.
Yeah. So the idea is just like it's a quick hit. So this or that.
Okay.
So it's not meant to think about, just one or the other.
All right.
Okay. And you probably have some idea. So
nope.
Dinner at a fancy restaurant or home cooked meal?
Alone, home cooked meal, I would say for sure.
Going out to the movies or laying by a pool?
Ooh, I fall asleep at movies, so going to the pool.
Okay. Multiple short vacations a year or one long vacation?
Multiple.
I agree. Mexico or Hawaii?
I've been to neither. So
but what? Just pick. Where would you rather go to?
Mexico.
Okay. Spain or Portugal?
Portugal.
Vancouver or Victoria?
Vancouver.
Early riser or sleep in?
Early riser. Very early riser.
I know you come right. I'm asking drive or fly. And this is not, I guess, specify like if you have either option, you just pick whichever one that you would rather do. So
I would rather drive.
Okay, fair enough. Single or in a relationship?
Very single.
Okay. Audiobooks or real books?
Audio.
Debit or credit card with business spending?
Debit usually.
Okay. I'm the opposite. I'm like all credit. I got to get my points so I can fly.
So fly. Yeah.
Do you have any pets?
No.
Spotify or Apple Music?
Oh, tough one because I have both.
What's your primary?
Depends on my mood. Spotify. Well, one's easier to navigate, Dustyn. Okay, so like Apple Music, I canceled and then went back to it because I have all of these things that I couldn't remember what were on it. So I got Spotify and now I have both again. So we'll just like round that up to Spotify.
Okay. Popcorn, yes or no?
No.
Fruit on a pizza?
Yes.
So this can be a 1 or 2 word answer. It's like very, very short, but like favorite type of music. To pick a genre that you
No, country.
Favorite time of the year? Like season?
Summer.
I mean, Okanagan, I agree. Favorite place to travel to for vacation?
I really love San Diego.
Okay. All right. So I just have a couple kind of like closing thought questions. Sure. How do you handle work-life balance as an entrepreneur?
So the last, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, there's been zero work-life balance. I'm a very early riser, so I like to get out on the lake first thing because it's like 6 houses down. Go paddleboarding, hiking. Creating is not really work to me. So for me, it's just like I go into my shop and I just kind of plug away, and then go 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Work for a couple hours, go for a bike ride. So, I tend to think that I do have a good work-life balance. I think it's very important, especially in the Okanagan. There's so much to do here. So work-life balance, I do have a pretty good one, but paddleboarding is kind of that's my go-to.
Are you still doing it in the winter months?
I deflated my paddleboard in October.
Okay.
And I'm scared shitless to get back on it because I don't fall, but I mean I don't want to fall.
No, not now.
Right? Like I had an accident.
A wetsuit.
Well, okay, so I had an accident kayaking actually in April where the lake is, very frigid. And it was, I wouldn't say near death, but very close. It was very scary. So I am quite timid to get in those colder times. So I think she's away for the winter.
Do you mind if I ask you a question on the near-death experience?
Go ahead.
Was it like the cold and the shock of it? Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I was far enough away from shore where, when shock kicks in and you start to sink and you can't swim. And I had a former friend that was with me that just wasn't really a big help. Funny end to the story was I thought I was dying. I was going under and, I'm drowning. That's it. My life is flashing between my eyes here. And I'm screaming out, fuck, help, help, help me.
As you do.
As you would, right? You're going under and it's like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And this elderly couple who I sunk in front of their house came out and I had got myself close enough to shore and they were running out to help me and they yelled out, "You could probably touch there." And I fucking could. But I couldn't when I went down. So it was about 12 minutes and it's instilled a real big fear into me. So I'll get over it.
Well, I think, and not this the exact correlation, but similar. And I feel like in business sometimes we get in those, I want to call it a spiral, but you get in a place and it's like you feel like there's almost no way out, and sometimes you need that friendly voice to just remind you to like try something.
You
out,
could
right?
touch there,
exactly. Right? It's like, I don't want to use a religious term, but like the voice of God, as we often say. Just like, and so I for myself, I've been trying to like work on that a bit more to like almost talk to myself from the outside to be like, yeah, like you got this.
You got this.
Right?
We got this.
As entrepreneurs, we don't always have someone else to tell us that.
Right.
And in part, when you were talking there that I wanted to touch on even a bit more was, it is very different being an entrepreneur than working. I mean, I know not everyone works 9 to 5, but a schedule like that's, kind of 5 days on or whatever is, I'm similar in a sense of like, the work I do sometimes, it brings me joy, right? Or the fact of like I say, like driving and seeing kids. And so I think that's what's unique being an entrepreneur versus being an employee, is that aspect of like we find relaxation in what we do.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Because that's that form of self-care. It's like, right, like I really enjoy doing this. Like maybe not the aspect for myself, at least like setting up an event and doing all the hard work, but once it's rolling, it's like, hey, now I'm like in a good place and whatnot.
Once it's completed and it's in someone else's house. Yes.
Yeah.
A little pat on the back for sure.
But I mean, but the creative side's fun too. And that's,
I love it.
You know, whether it's working on this podcast or, you know, with Ella's podcast, working on Denta, like I love doing that. And people are like, but you're so busy. I'm like, yeah, but I enjoy what I do, and I work with people that I like.
100%. I work by myself, so you know, like I have to like myself.
You're a business partner here.
Oh, here, yes, 100%.
But at home, yes,
yeah,
on the other one, yes. Do you have any tips or strategy for building resilience or perseverance in the face of adversity?
I would just say go with your gut and just do it. You know, like you just kind of don't doubt yourself. You know, if you don't do it, you'll never know. You know, so I just kind of go and give it a try. I'm a doer. I'm a big doer. Just do it.
Yeah, rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you and I were talking about that before, because even this podcast, like, it wasn't quite as like perfect as I wanted. I had all these different visions of it, and I'm like, fuck, I just got to start it. It's going to evolve. They all say, you know, your first couple podcasts aren't your best, and you just continually get better. And even like tonight, like this is my 4th recording, and I even feel more comfortable, and I actually like the setup better, where it's a lot more casual versus kind of sitting back.
Yeah,
so,
good.
And you just kind of got to try. You're going to fail.
I'm going to guarantee you this isn't the best interview.
Well, but I'm going to get myself. Like I'm going to get better at it.
Yes,
and so that will just help. Also, you know, guests feel more comfortable too, right? Do you have any favorite books, podcasts that have inspired you along the way?
So back in my hospitality days, I just had a manager, her name's Dory Murphy, just really see something in me. And, you know, starting off as a server, moving me into an assistant manager, one day into general manager, you know, and running a very successful business. She pushed a book on me called 1 Minute Manager.
Heard of it? I haven't read it. I've heard of it.
Yeah, I actually pulled it out today because I knew you were going to ask me this question. And
I'm glad I gave you a little heads up.
Just a little bit, yeah. Even though I wrote some notes that I clearly didn't follow.
But notes at least help you feel more comfortable, because you're also reiterating to yourself. And it's like, I know you've kind of looked at them a couple times, but I don't feel like
you've really talked about like anything that I wrote down.
But it's fine. Just it also helps get any nerves kind of out, right?
Yes.
It's preparing.
Yes. Yeah. So 1 Minute Manager was a great one to read. There's another one called Fish. Again, same kind of concept as just, you know, how to empower people and just, you know, be better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Love it. And my final closing question is, if, you know, someone out there that's queer, that's considering some kind of entrepreneurial journey, what advice would you have for them?
Just do it, you know, and if you've got any questions or, you know, if you need some advice, you know, I'm always here. I definitely love helping people and just helping and having my name out there, and just come and see me, you know, like especially with the sobriety, just
right.
I'm here for you. We're all here for you. We're all one. So hopefully that each person will help each other out.
Yeah. And I feel like, and on the sobriety, I feel like more and more people are going that path. Like every time I turn around, I feel like people are like barely drinking, or they're just stopping altogether. Yeah. Because I think we all realize, especially after the pandemic, many of us drank a lot, myself included. Yeah. So it feels good. And I think that seems to be a very consistent theme around advice for potential entrepreneurs, is just
do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
You got to try it. You're going to fail a million fucking times.
Yeah. You'll never know until you try, you know?
Exactly.
So I wrote down here, jump in, just do it. You know, do some market studies. You reap the benefits of working for yourself. Freedom to do what you want. You'll never know until you try it.
I love it. Any closing thoughts you want to share?
Oh, no, I think I'm all right. You know, I appreciate your time with me today.
No, I appreciate you coming on. I mean, I know we're still fairly early in the journey, but I'm excited for all the cool people I get to chat with and learn more about the stories, because I know, like, you know, I didn't know a lot of your background beforehand, and so I got to learn a lot more about you and the business, and it's fun. I really enjoy getting to highlight other people and the cool shit that they do.
Yeah, we appreciate it too.
So awesome.
All right.
Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Queerprenuers Unleashed. I know it's a hard word.
There's that word again, queerpreneurship.
And stay tuned, more episodes to come.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks.